Good morning, this is Vinny, the knife guy. Someone just dropped off 9 global knives and a pair of scissors, which I'll be sharpening today, and then someone else dropped off a couple of Wusthof knives. So I'll be sharpening all that today. Alright, I'm going to set the angle to 17 degrees for these knives. This was set at 15 for some Japanese knives that I sharpened. (17.2), 17.1, very happy with that. All right, here are the knives I'll be sharpening. A bunch of globals. Can you guys see like all the light are refracting off? That means the knife is super dull. The knife has a rolled edge, so yeah, pretty bad. So let's swap out some fresh tape. All right, got 9 global knives to sharpen. Got my 120 grit Kubatron belt. Set at 17 degrees. Let's get to sharpening. Knife guy, or Michael, how's it going, buddy? So I got a whole bunch of global knives I'll be sharpening this morning, and then a couple of, I believe, Wusthof knives. everyone. Good morning. Gable, how's it going, buddy? So, customer dropped off 9 global knives that I'm sharpening up, 7 straight edge, and 2 serrated. So I'll show you my method of the serration knives. I'm probably gonna swap out belts here. I just want to show you like the difference. So I could feel like the knife heat up a little bit, which the knife should not heat up at all with the Kubatron belts. So the reason why it would heat up, kind of like the Trizax, because underneath here, this one is very rough. This is still a brand new 120 grit, and I could dig my nail into it. This one is super smooth, and it can just generate like more heat. So I noticed that on the smaller knives. So I think it's time just to swap them out, but you guys can see a good difference of a brand new and then the small one, or then the used one. Hey Jessica, very good question about the metal shavings. I have this full face respirator, so I have this on, and I go edge leading. So so all of this metal shavings, all that is captured. Well, it comes towards me, so I have the paper towels that capture it, and then I have an on-off magnet. So in theory, most of the metal shavings will get trapped right here. So when I first started sharpening, I didn't realize this, and then I just wouldn't stop coughing. I'm like, oh my god, I've been inhaling metal shavings like an idiot. So yeah, now we have an A30 Trizac, which is about 600 grit. So Jessica, hopefully that answers your question. Gabo, I watched Squid Games with the wife. Very, very good so far, man. We're definitely enjoying it. So, since the machine is loud, if there's any questions, I'll just stop the machine and then just answer as we go. Thank you, everyone, for checking in. My name is Vinny. I'm the owner of the Knife Guy in Reno, Nevada. That's where I sharpen at. So I'm a full-time fireman. So let me know where you guys are watching from, what part of the country or world. Jessica, I'm not sure what that means on the last question. Texas? Oh, that's awesome. I've never been to Texas, but I've always wanted to, so thank you so much for tuning in. I am sharpening these at 17 on the angle. That's what came out on my scratch test. And now I'm going to just hit the back edge of both of these serrated knives. Thank you. Since the serrations were still pretty sharp, I just touched it up on the back edge. I don't need to cut in any new ones. Where can I buy the grinder like that? A-Practice. So this one is called the Tulker. Got it from Amazon. I'm trying to zoom in right there. So that's it. I got it off Amazon. Shipping is not included, so I think it was like 30 or 40 bucks for shipping, but I think this machine comes out to be close to 300 bucks. So I have one going edge leading, that's how I sharpen. I have one for edge trailing, and I have two more for when I do like mobile jobs or like pop-ups. So it just makes assembly line a lot easier. So yeah, so you can find it off Amazon. So I hope that helps. So with the two serrated knives, I brought up the burr, and then I'm going to put it on my magnet and wire wheel brush, knock the burr off. Then we'll come over here and use my leather belt to remove any burr. So yeah, absolutely. If you have any more questions, please reach out to me, and I can try and help point you in the right direction. There are a lot of, I won't say a lot, there are several modifications I have done to all my machines. Like this right here is the upgraded idler wheel, and I put them on all my machines, and it helps with the tracking back and forth. Angle guide, you had to cut this down to actually fit on this, and I have a couple of rare earth magnets, and then I used my Dremel a little bit to cut inside of these angle guides here to make them a little bit closer to the platen. Mohammed, I guess what specs are you looking at? So let me try and, I don't know on top of my head of this machine. Try to zoom in here. Oops. Those are the specs. So, I don't know like the weight or anything on top of my head or anything else like that. But I do love it. It has a sewing machine motor, adjustable speed, edge leading, edge trailing, and it's awesome. So there's definitely pros and cons to it. There's no customer service, unfortunately. So when you have questions, you just have to find stuff online. It's very difficult. So unlike there's other machines out there like Harbor Freights, a lot of people use them. The 1x40 Kalamazoo's, people use them. There's a lot of different stuff out here. So customer service, I can't find it. It's very tough to find it. I think they just make a lot of these in the same warehouse, but no one to really talk out and ask questions. So it's tough when I had to research any of it. So hopefully that helps. And now I'm using my 1200 grit A16 Trizac. This one is done. I'll throw this in the trash too. All right, let's get to sharpening. Oh, hold on. Where do you get your belts? I get all my belts from Cliff Curry. So I have an assortment of belts. I have diamond serrated ones, Scotch Brights, 50, 80, 120 grit, 600, 1200, 4000 grit, my leather straps, felt belts, smaller belts. I've only used them from Cliff Curry, but there's plenty of other places like Combat Abrasives out there and several others I can't think of the top of my head. But my normal progression is 120, 600, 1200 leather strap. So that is my progression that I prefer. Yeah, I did just buy a Buck Tool belt, Buck Tool bench grinder, which I'm going to get a couple of leather discs on and diamond wheels. So I'm very happy to get that. So very curious when that will be coming in, and then I'll do some reviews on that. Also, if you guys do find this helpful, please leave a thumbs up. It does help out the channel so much. Also, give us a follow on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube that you're already on. So that helps out the channel so much, guys. Practice, absolutely. So, yeah, if you have any more questions, let me know. I'll stop the machine and answer them. All right, so for these serrated knives, I have my on-off magnet here. I have my wire wheel Dremel. This does not leave any scratches on it, so all I'm doing is just moving the burr back and forth. Alright, so that's all I do for the serrated knives. I don't go too crazy back and forth, but that's my process. If oh, I still have a little bit right there. If the serrations are still sharp, I'll just touch it up from the back edge. Then I'll wipe it down with some rubbing alcohol, 99 isopropyl. Do a little cut test in a minute. All right, let's see how these do. Very thin magazine paper, so see how easy that just tore off. So let's see what we can do. It's catching up right here, so let me work on that a little bit more. Tore a little bit. It's catching up here, so let me work on that. Oh, maybe the bird just popped off. Touch this guy up one more time. It's nice having light to see where the burr still is or if anything is. Sweet. Oh yeah. So that's why I always test, just to make sure. So I just hit it twice again. Yeah. Oops. It's all right. I don't want to bend down. This paper's cut so easily. There we go. Catching a little bit more. All right, hit this again. Sometimes that's all it takes, just to knock out that stubborn burr. So I wish you saw that. I didn't have you in frame. So it's cutting a lot better. So you don't always have to go back and redo everything that you just did. Start from the simplest thing, which was just going back one step. So I just removed the burr and that was it. So that was perfect. So now let's remove the burrs off these other ones. Okay. So here's my leather belt. Okay, let's get you in a position where you can see this. No, it's just a regular on. It's just it's not electromagnet. It's just regular on-off magnet I got from Amazon. So, turn this way is activated. It's on there, and so the best thing is holding any knife. It's fantastic. So I have it off, I have it on. So now if I want to do any work with the knife, it's staying there. Turn it off, comes right off. So it's fantastic. So I sharpen at 2000 RPM. I'm gonna strap at 1400. And again, going edge trailing. Oh, what is going with the tracking here? Come on now. All right, very gentle. So going edge leading, I don't need to do many passes here. So going edge leading only creates a very small burr. Okay. So I have my deburring set up the same angle as my sharpening. Like you could hear other theories of stropping one a degree higher, one lower, or the same. I just found like the best results I've got is from the same angle. So just doing very light pressure here. I'm using pretty much the weight of the knife to go into the leather belt. So if you push pretty hard, thinking you can try to remove the burr faster, you could actually roll the edge and ruin all that hard work that you just spent doing sharpening. Can I make a cheap knife great? Yeah, absolutely. Well, there are things that are just out of your control, like the type of knife, type of steel, the HRC of it. But I can make any knife sharp, and if it's a thicker knife, you have to thin it down a little bit behind the edge. So I've made plenty of cheap knives sharp, but yeah, so if I've had people very hesitant about getting like their knife sharpened, like, well, it's cheaper getting them sharpened than buying new ones. And you know, if you have pride in your tools, it doesn't matter if they're on the cheaper end or not. I've seen people take better care of their $20 knives than, you know, a couple $100 shoes. So it's just how much pride someone wants to have in their knives, and yeah. Did you have a certain knife that you want sharpened, or you had in mind? Also, I'm not sure if I said it, you always want to take your leather straps off the machine, because they will stretch over time, and that's just bad for the belt, and then you have to adjust the tracking and tension more and more. So leaving the Cubitron or Trizex belts on the machine are totally fine. It's just out of habit, I take them all off anyway. Yeah, well, if you ever need your knife sharpened, I do accept mail-in orders. So, yeah, I'd love to earn your business and make any of your knives sharp. So, let's see how these globals are. Oh man, you can just hear how smooth that is. I think the hardest part is making sure the camera is in frame of everything that you guys can see. These globals are nice. Usually, like, I mean, I wouldn't say globals are like the highest end, and then like the feel is just a little bit on the lighter end for me. But you can see that these are razor sharp. Oops. Yeah, I'm very happy with these. Yeah. I mean, once I was able to sharpen like my own knife, and make it sharp for the first time, it was like starting fire. I'm like, oh man, this is incredible. It's like you just unlock this new superpower, essentially, like this new skill. So once you're able to sharpen like your knives like on your own, it's just amazing. So, and cheap knives are easy to sharpen because, yeah, that's true. Sometimes like the cheaper knives are just super thick, and they do take more time to actually sharpen behind the edge. But that's for another story. All right, let's put these back. And then I have a couple more knives to sharpen, and I have to sharpen the scissors on my twice as sharp. So I'll let you guys check that out. Honestly, I'm very surprised on how well these cut. Like, I'm very happy with that. I know this is not the fun part, I apologize. Okay, leave that here. I have 4 knives to sharpen from this gentleman. Rod. All right. This, I have to show you this. I'm gonna make a separate video on this one. A coworker brought me this. I can't even get in frame, it's so big. This is just for reference, this is a normal size kitchen knife. Who has this? Like, is he going to like the Game of Thrones or something? Like to behead people? I don't know. So I need to remove the rust and sharpen it for him. So my goal is to take all this off, and so that's for a different video. But seriously, that thing is insane. Okay. Man, I really love the Benchmade's and Spyderco's, like the S30V. Those are just awesome knives. They're always on the higher end stuff. Like, I do love working on shoons. I have a couple shoons myself, but they do chip, so that's a downside. So, but yeah, anything with a higher HRC, like the SB30 steel, that's always a great one. So. Okay, sorry. So I put some new tape on this. The tape helps protect the knife against any scratches. So I start adding the green frog tape to my platen because I don't want metal on metal. But any kind of tape is good, as long as you just protect the knife against any extra scratches. So I'm currently using a neck mount for the recording. Can you guys let me know if you like this type of POV, or want me to zoom in, or have more of a fixed mount? I'm very curious what you guys' thoughts are on that. All right, so again, let's get to sharpening. 4 more knives. Starting with 120 grit Cubitron belt, sharpening at 17 on the angle, and this one's gonna cut a lot faster since it's a braiding belt. Thank you very much for letting me know. Hey, Turtle, thank you very much for checking in. I have sharpened butterfly knives. They're not my favorite, but I have done it. So I just, not a lot of people in Reno have them, so I don't have a big opportunity to sharpen, but I have done them before, and they're pretty cool knives. It does take longer because usually the only ones I've worked on are double-sided daggers, essentially, so yeah, man. All right, if there's any more questions, I'm just going to stop the machine and answer them since it gets kind of loud. Let me ask a question to everyone who's watching. Do you know why I touched, a few of these up, like one on the bottom? I'll wait in case no one answers. Yes, I threw that one out. Okay, I have my... No, I was wondering. All right, so these things are called bolsters. So these are called bolsters here, this whole part. So what it does, it protects like your finger from going onto the actual edge of the knife. The problem is with them is that when you start sharpening, this edge will get below the bolster. So if you were to cut, here, let me try and bring it down, the camera. So if you were to cut on a cutting board, you see how that back edge hits first, then like the knife. So that's why you want to try and bring this up higher than the actual blade. I hate bolsters for as a home cook and sharpener because they're just more of a pain. But for people who are not experienced with knives, it's always a good safety issue. So pros and cons. They also say this is the sharpener's touch. You know, every sharpener has their own little different way of removing like the bolster, and it's their signature that's always going to be on the knife as well. So they say that's the sharpener's signature is when they sharpen a bolster, because it's always going to be there. See how well that they did, how well they rounded it, cleaned it up. So yeah. All right, 1200 grit. I'm sorry, 600 grit. This is a 1x30 Tulker belt sander. I got it from Amazon. So that's the brand of it. You type it in Amazon, you should find it. I've been professionally sharpening. It'll be 2 years in January. I'm a full-time fireman, so I sharpen the knives on my days off. Pop and smoke and see what he did there. What did I do? Real question, I'm curious. Yeah, so probably sharpening for 3 years, but professionally 2. I just did friends and family for about a year and try to learn like the skills, and I sharpened on diamond stones first before I went on to the belt sanders. We have a Trizac A16, which is the final sharpening step. The pun in the question. Perfect. This is a 1200 grit belt to refine the scratch pattern and leave a mirror polish on the edge. What do you think about the different types of sharpening ways? Bobby, you're gonna have to ask more of a specific question. There's many different ways, man. Yeah, like the water sharpening technique. Oh, the water sharpening technique. Well, I'm not sure if you mean using whetstones, if you're using the Tormek, because that's water cooled. So let me know a little bit more details about your question, because whetstones do require to be wet, and the Tormek machine uses water whetstones. I think they're good. Just really good brands out there. As a sharpener, as a professional sharpener, I don't use them hardly anymore. But a big con of them, which there's two things I don't like about whetstones in general, besides like what stones you get. They're messy, and I'm trying to keep a clean shop, so you always have to have them on water or in like a little bath. Secondly, they cup. So put my hand this way. So they cup. So you need a flattening stone to flatten them out. So not a huge fan of whetstones. They do make great ones out there, but I don't want to waste the time flattening a stone once it gets cupped or having the mess of the water. I like diamond stones. Diamond stones are fantastic. The DMT diamond stones are my favorite. Very consistent grit and just overall great stone. This is a leather strop. So 1x30. I did buy felt belts. I have not used those yet, so I'm not sure exactly how they compare. I'm not sure if the process is you use the felt then the leather. I'm gonna do some comparison tests on my own knives to see which one gives me the better edge. So if you guys are enjoying this, please give this video a thumbs up. It does help the channel. So thank you guys very much. Oops, okay. I have an arrow because it tracks better on one way. Okay. All right. So I sharpen edge leading, and then I obviously strop edge trailing. What is going on here? Never does this. I use Sharple because of your answer. Yeah, Sharples are great. I'm very excited to get like my belt grinder, so I can actually get some leather discs to strop with. So I just hate how this one has a little bit of wobble on it, so not my favorite. I don't know why. All right, here we go. Just a couple passes with here. And I'm just using very light pressure. All my sharpenings are using light pressure. Once you start putting too much pressure on, even the sharpening belts, it just adds too much heat friction. And then with the stropping, I'm very light pressure to remove like the burr. And it shouldn't be too much of a burr since I went edge leading. Where did you get your stropping belts? I got everything. I got all my belts from Cliff Curry. When I first started, I did the work sharp stuff, and I got stuff from Amazon, and that only lasted so little time. Like the belts probably lasted probably 5 to 8 knives, while these Cliff Curry belts are lasting significantly longer. So let's leave the light on for a little more light around here. All right, so I'm gonna spray these off with some rubbing alcohol, and we'll do our paper test. You don't have to get them from a Cliff Curry. That's just where I've got mine, and I've liked them, so I never switched. I've never experimented with red label abrasives or combat abrasives. Those guys seem pretty popular, but I just never switched. So I don't know anything else. I'll put it that way. But I've been very happy for the longevity I'm getting on these belts. All right, let's see how they cut. a little rough. There we go. I think like the burr was still hanging on just very little. Hopefully you guys can actually hear like the difference. It seemed like it was rough. Now it's just gliding through. Where did you get your sharpening belt? Can you use a belt sander to sharpen knives? You could. A little bit. Yeah, you could use a belt sander. I mean, oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking belt grinder. This is a belt sander. This is a 1x30 belt sander. So, people get Harbor Freight's 1x30 belt sanders, and they work fantastic. So, this one is called the Tulker. Yeah, that cut's very nice. I like it. What about? Yeah, yeah, people freehand knives all the time, and more power to them. I have an actual angle guide on mine. So, yeah, you can totally freehand and do all that cool stuff with it. So, I wrap all of the knives in butcher paper. Some people like to call me the burrito man. And since I wrap everything kind of like a little burrito. So I have my sheaths down here. So I'll take the phone off for a second. So if you have any questions or you just want to reach out to me, once you get like your belt sander, please let me know, and I'll be more than happy to help you out. Because there are modifications that you can do with the Harbor Freight ones that make it so much easier to sharpen knives with. Did you make your own angle guide or order from somewhere? I ordered from Amazon, and I'm not happy with it. That I have to use a digital angle guide to confirm the angles. So it just doesn't hold a true angle for me, so I don't like it, and they sometimes move on me, so which really bothers me. Come on one second. So Amazon has them cheap. I ordered more from Cliff Curry. I just have to fabricate a permanent way to put them on my machine. That's the only downside. So nothing really is plug and play in this business. So you always have to do a little modification, which is fine. Just takes a little bit of time. But my ones I currently have on them are from Amazon. But get yourself a digital angle guide, because it helps out a lot to confirm the angle that you're on. What angle do I like to sharpen? That depends. I don't do too much of a scratch test anymore. I still do it just to confirm on knives sometimes if they're very high end. But usually I sharpen most knives at 17 because that is a good balance of longevity and sharpness for Western knives. But for for like Japanese knives, stuff like that, I sharpen more towards 13 to 15 on the angle. So EDCs, I try to match up those bevels as best I can, because they're very small as well, like the bevels, and they're usually on the higher end, so I try to not remove as much steel. So sometimes I put a high gloss polish on it that the customer wants, I have that 6,000 grit stone, or the belt, and then it leaves a nice mirror finish on it. How many knives do you need to do to make money on this? Well, I charge $10 per knife. I charge more for EDCs. I charge $10 for scissors, which I have to sharpen like the scissors on this. So stay tuned. I'm not done sharpening yet. I have a whole price list on my website, but people can make really good money. I'm a full-time fireman, so Let me grab one more business card. So I'm not, oops, I'm back, sorry about that. So just grabbing some business cards. I don't hit up the farmers markets as I should. There you can make probably 500 bucks a day doing that, and people do. I know many sharpeners that they hit up the farmers markets and they clear easy 500 bucks a day, or each time they go there. Plus they're at home sharpening, so I know people charge $1 per inch, $1.50 per inch, $2 per inch. So there's different ways to calculate it. So easiest way I would do is find sharpeners in your area, find out how much they're charging, because you don't want to be the most expensive, nor you don't want to be like the cheapest one. So when I'm in the flow, when I'm not actually doing live streams, I could probably do 20 knives per hour. And that's still not super rushing, but making sure I'm doing a good job. So, you know, if I charge $10 per hour, sharpen 20 knives per hour, that's 200 bucks per hour when I have a lot of knives. So hopefully that answers your question, Bobby. James, how's it going, man? I get my belts from Cliff Curry. There's other brands out there like Combat Abrasives, Red Label. I just never purchased them. I've just stuck with Cliff Curry. I did start with Amazon belts because they were really cheap and they would not last long at all. They would probably last, I don't know, 5 to 8 knives, so it was horrible. So if you do get knives from Amazon, just don't. Yeah. All right, so then we have, but yeah, Cliff Curry is the guy I get my knives from, my belts from. So I'm moving this out of the way. I have my brand new twice as sharp scissor sharpener, which I love. Okay. I'm still trying to find space and fine tune it, but it's fantastic. All right, my veteran, I want to say, Sean, thank you very much, man. Yeah, I appreciate it. Where, which branch did you serve in? So I've been a full-time fireman for 17 years, and my wife is a deputy actually. So, power struggles there in the household, but it's fantastic. So I wouldn't change it for the world. Active Army, that's awesome. My cousin-in-law, if you want to say it that way, he is in the Army right now. So he just got back from Afghanistan. So it's awesome hearing about his stories and adventures. It's always very impressive. So thank you for your service. So all right, guys, so here we have the twice as sharp. So usually the cars are not in here, so I have a little bit more room for working. That's the only downside. So these guys here. Okay, so you guys see so you guys see the teeth here on this guy? I'm not gonna sharpen this one. I'm not gonna mess with it. I'm gonna sharpen only this side, and we'll see where we are. And if I need to sharpen it, I will. So, first things first, I have my pink stone here. So, yeah, Sean, thank you very much, man, for all your service. So, I'm gonna make sure there's no damage over here. So I'm just gonna use my pink stone to move it back if there is any damage before I start sharpening. Okay. Then I have my marker here. Oops. So before you blindly sharpen anything, it's always good just to inspect it. So I see like a lot of damage here and everything. So gonna just mark in like the bevel, which is completely black. I don't know if you guys can even see that. It looks kind of great right there. Maybe that's better. Okay, so that bevel is completely marked in. So here, I'm gonna do my scratch test. I just upgraded wheels because this one is pretty messy as well. So with the machine off, or you guys can do it on, I am just pulling this up. So I'm a little low on it right now. So if I'm low on this side, I have to raise it up. I don't even look at the angle. I mean, it does give me a reference, so I'm at 10, so I have to come a little bit higher, maybe 15 or so. But still a little low, I'm getting closer. I think this might be it. Only downside, oh, we're so close. We're so close. This is not the sexy part. All right, so you guys see how that line goes across the whole edge? So that's perfect. So now I'm gonna have my respirator because this does kick up a lot of gunk. Yeah, I feel a burr. I'm gonna take it to my honing side. This is not messing with the burr, it's just clean up like the edge.